This is Center Topic, a public affairs presentation of Rev FM on current events, issues, and happenings in and around central Pennsylvania.
And welcome once again to Center Topic. Got Eric Lane with you with this week. And as always, if you or someone you know would like to be a guest on our public affairs program here each week, we'd love to hear from you. Just simply shoot us an email, info@revfm.net. That's info@revfm.net. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's community events or faith-based programs or whatever. We've got a couple in our studio here that was here last year talking about the Oasis conference and Oasis 2014. We have Susan Margolis and Karen Ciccarone. Am I getting that right?
Just about Chickarone.
Chickarone.
Yeah.
Chickarone. All right. Good deal. And you guys were here last year talking about Oasis. There's a story first off about how both of you guys met. So, kind of get us back up to speed for those that weren't with us last year.
Okay. Sue and I became friends in 2012, and we learned that both of us had been survivors of childhood sexual abuse, and both of us had experienced significant healing. And we felt a strong desire to help other people heal from the pain of their past.
Yeah.
And so God just started leading us, and we ended up planning the conference, Oasis 2013.
Yeah, so 2013. So, and then how did that? Well, we talked a bit about that, but when you guys were here before, how did that all turn out? Because we had a lot of folks interested in that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and first of all, thank you for letting us be on the show.
Yeah.
And thank you for this opportunity. And yes, Oasis 2013 was highly successful.
Yeah.
And we praise God for that. And the biggest reason it was so successful is because God was there. God showed up. You could feel his presence. And he was there. A lot of people found hope and healing. Victories in their recovery.
Were you surprised at the number of people that came out, or was it sort of what you were expecting?
I think it was pretty much what we were expecting for our first conference.
Okay.
I think we were surprised at the Lord's presence there. It was so great, and you could feel it, and people were actually walking around the building and praying.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
And we felt that it wasn't surprising, though, that God came so near, because Psalm 34:18 tells us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed in spirit.
That's true.
I mean, nothing crushes a spirit like sexual abuse does. The
That's
damage
right.
is extensive.
Yeah. Did you learn anything? I'm sure you just from the speakers, but I mean, on the overall experience, I mean, folks that were there, you're always getting information from folks that are in that situation. I mean, what was the takeaway from that for you guys as the organizers?
Well, one of the things we did was we started support groups.
Oh, okay.
So we run support groups.
Is this all around just the local area here?
Just in CMA.
Right.
In our church.
Right.
And we do support groups, and we also meet with girls individually.
Okay.
I think we were surprised that so many found their voice. And that they were able to talk to us and come up to us, share pictures, share things about their journey, and they started on their healing journey.
So what it is, it's taking kind of a stigma away from.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yeah. Here's an example. Lori, I have her permission to say this
Sure.
tonight. She said, going to Oasis 2013 for me was a step of faith. I wanted to learn more about those thoughts and hurts buried so deep that I didn't trust anyone. For me, it was the beginning of knowing that I wasn't alone in the things that plagued my insides. It was the beginning of me finding hope through people strong enough to speak out for someone like me who didn't yet have her voice.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So that was it. Obviously, it's something that is probably not being talked enough about because of the response. What were some things maybe? Well, I guess you probably have been confirmed on some of your own feelings, but I mean, were there some other insights from the speakers that were there, the folks that were there that helped to broaden your perspective?
I think that some survivors were able to step out of denial when they heard other people speaking.
Is that a bigger problem than we think?
It's huge. Yeah, people don't want to admit that they're victims. That it really.
Why do you think that is?
For one thing, it's too painful.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
It is the perpetrator's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the perpetrator's fault.
Right.
But when you're going through it, you do feel shamed. You feel low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're not worth it. So to say something, and many of the girls have been threatened to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard to get that first couple sentences out.
Yeah. And, well, go ahead.
I have I wanted to give you a glimpse from one survivor from the support group.
Okay.
She wrote this about the support groups. When I went to the first recovery meeting, I expected to meet empathetic women whose own stories might make me feel less alone. I didn't expect to meet God. I didn't expect for him to be there, so eager to love and forgive me. But week by week, he is filling the pit of worthlessness I have always felt with gems of faith, love, and grace, showing me that I am not worthless. I am a treasure. I am his treasure.
At these support groups, what goes on? I mean, is there an agenda? Obviously, you have to have some sort of a direction. So what typically goes on in these support groups?
Well, right now we're doing a book called The Door of Hope, and that is written by one of our speakers that's coming to the conference.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we're going through that.
Yeah. And what does that basically just kind of cover, like the boldness to come out and talk about this, or what?
Well, her book details like 10 steps to recovery. And so we, take, the survivors through each step, and it's very, very challenging, and it's hard work.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
A lot of it is coming to some self-realization yourself.
Yeah. When you realize the damage that's been done to yourself and the lies that you've believed.
Well, and the guilt that you
and
have.
And the guilt. Yeah, and realize that you don't have to carry that guilt. You can let it go.
Yeah.
I think another big thing is that you're not alone.
That's probably a big thing, is the fact that there's other people that have been in the same situation, and that now you've got somebody to talk it out with.
Yeah.
And you can see from other people that they have made progress, that they have gotten over it. And
have you been able to talk to folks that were at the conference, and have you kept up with them and have kind of seen how their story is developing and how maybe they're helping other people that's been in the same situation?
Yeah, some of them are in our support groups.
Okay.
And they are helping other people. They don't know it. I mean, they don't realize it yet.
Yeah. That's cool. So so this the last one was in 2013, right?
Yes.
I didn't realize it was that long ago. I thought it was so that's why. Are you doing this on every other year type of situation, or is this just you're doing it this year? Just
so far, we're not sure if the next one will be next year or like 18 months like this one. We don't know yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was the, did you just come to a point where it's like, we need to do another conference? I mean, how
we had such good feedback. People said, you're going to do one next year? Like, they really, really wanted another one.
Yeah.
So, and we just felt, yeah, let's do it.
And as we followed God, I mean, he really puts this path in front of us. So, then we found Jan Frank, who's one of the speakers. And then we found Cecil Murphy, who's another one. And it's very interesting this year because we have Cecil Murphy, who's going to talk about men who have been sexually abused. And Jan Frank will talk about, well, a lot of other things, but about women. And she was abused, and Cecil Murphy, they were both abused. So they'll also give
Do you think that the men will be as responsive?
I think to Cecil Murphy, they will be.
And also, speaking of men, one of the highlights of the conference last time was there was a male survivor who, before coming to the conference, was on the brink of suicide. He was that crushed in spirit. But coming to the conference, God came near and saved his life. So, I mean, I think it definitely can impact men.
Well, I think too that you've got one conference that you've already had, and it touched so many lives that they're going to go tell somebody else about this.
Yeah. And we've heard that. Oh, I'm going to bring my sister, my mother. Because really, that's with a subject like this, that's how you're going to get probably the best attendance is word of mouth, because they'll believe somebody who has been the victim, and they'll say, look, I've been to this, you need to come to this. Yeah, exactly.
And we really have two paths. We have Friday and Saturday, May 1st and 2nd. Friday is for professionals.
Okay. Now, what with the professionals? Is this a training type thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they'll be trained in what, basically?
Well, Jan Frank, she has been a conference speaker for over 25 years, both nationally and internationally, and she trains mental health professionals, pastors, and lay persons in how to effectively minister to people from broken and dysfunctional backgrounds.
It's probably a challenge, I guess. And unfortunately, this is a new nuance, I guess, for the church. How do we address this? And so it is probably rather an awkward approach on how you do this. And so you may find that there are a lot of church leaders out there that will say, you know what, it's uncomfortable, but it's something that we need to look at.
It really is. And mainly I'm thinking about like the victims of sexual assault, like the statistics, like they're 3 times more likely to suffer from depression, 6 times more likely to suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, 13 times more likely to abuse alcohol, 26 times more likely to abuse drugs, and 4 times more likely to contemplate suicide.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a huge issue to address.
Yeah.
And for the professionals, we have CEUs, continuing education credits, that are offered to them. And that's for family therapists, social workers, marriage and family therapists, and professional counselors.
And then the Pennsylvania Certification Board approves 6 credit hours for addiction counselors, case managers, prevention specialists. Yeah,
that's neat. Are you finding that there is some interest in the professionals that would want to come to this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, that's neat. And then the second day then is for the general public?
Yeah, it's for survivors and friends and family, spouses.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And support people.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you're bringing in these different speakers. Obviously, you've got the 2013 Oasis to kind of go back from too. Are you doing different overall themes, or is it still basically kind of just more of the same with a repeat? Or I mean, how is this? Are you going to distinguish this conference from the one that you had in 2013?
Well, the one that we had in 2013 was like people could come to both days, although like Friday was more geared for professionals, but professionals also could earn CEUs on Saturday last time, but this time it's strictly for survivors, although they're welcome to come, but they won't have CEUs on Saturday.
I see.
And we have a musical group this year.
Really?
Copper Lily.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of them.
I haven't heard of them.
Husband and wife duo from Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And they met while they were both signed to Goatee Records, and he was with House of Heroes, and she was a solo artist.
Oh, wow.
Tim and Stephanie Skipper.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, they're hometown people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I know Tim and Stephanie, so I know Tim. He's the singer for House of Heroes. So I know that band. Okay. So that's good.
Great.
So this is their little.
So they're Copper Lily now.
So are they doing this now full time, or are they still? Is he still doing the stuff with House of Heroes?
I think
he's still doing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'd have to
We're
check.
not sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's good. Now, how did you come across getting Tim and Stephanie?
One of our team members knows them and contacted them, and
wow.
so they're going to start the music on Saturday. Start the program, I guess, and then towards the end of the day, we have a reflection time, and they're going to lead into that with a healing prayer ministry. And
that's neat.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
That's very neat. So folks that are contemplating coming to this, I mean, are the topics going to be very similar to what they were at the 2013 Oasis that you're going to cover?
Well, I think Cease Murphy, it might be a little bit different.
Okay. Break that down a little bit for us.
Okay. Well, he's a writer, speaker, teacher, survivor. He was sexually abused, and he helps others in pain through his candid interviews, his seminars, his blog for male survivors, which is called Men Shattering the Silence. And he's written a couple books, When a Man You Love Was Abused, A Woman's Guide to Helping Him Overcome Childhood Sexual Molestation, and Not Quite Healed, 40 Truths for Male Survivors of Childhood Sexual Abuse. Yeah. He's also the author and co-author of about 135 books. And he did Don Piper, 90 Minutes in Heaven, and he did Ben Carson's The Ben Carson Story.
Okay.
And I think he's... when you listen to him, you just become enthralled with him. And we're going to have a question and answer period with him. And especially, for male sexual abuse victims, that's going to be wonderful.
Well, I know. And obviously, it's going to be a different it affects men differently than it does women, and in a relationship, it will affect a relationship differently for a man as it does for a woman as well. The thing is, I think probably the biggest is, how do you get the men to come and open up about it? I mean, do you think it's going to be fairly easy for the guys to come and just say, this is, wow, my wife brought me to this, or this type of thing, or what?
Well, I think if they want to come, no one's going to know that they were abused. No one's going to know that it's not
the confidentiality thing has to be really big, right?
Oh,
Definitely.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
They don't have to say anything they don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Cecil's also going to talk about the spouses
Yeah.
of the people that have been abused.
Because he says, like, spouses become secondary victims through the attitudes and behaviors of their loved ones without either
That's
one
right.
of them realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll share his experience of working with his wife through those difficult childhood abuse issues, and that will help people to develop deeper conversation and have stronger commitments to each other.
It will also strengthen the relationship
Yes.
in a marriage as well,
Yeah.
especially if the spouse knows how to respond.
Exactly.
And that's probably a big challenge for the spouse. It's like, well, do I bring this up? Well, how do I bring it up? Do I not bring it up? I mean, was that ever a problem with you guys, as far as in dealing with a spouse after being in a victimized situation like that?
You mean like how?
That you're able to overcome the trust issues and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in my situation, my husband was very supportive, very understanding. We could openly talk about things, probably similar to what Cecil will share about him and his wife, which was such a blessing to me.
Yeah.
And my husband was, I think, shocked, didn't know how to react at first. But
Which is natural.
Yeah.
And then he became very supportive. And he will come to this conference again.
Yeah.
Just to learn more and what he can do to help me.
Now you said you had the one for the guys. Tell us a little bit about the one that's doing for the ladies.
Okay. You mean for the Survivor Day?
Yeah.
Okay. Jan is going to start in the morning talking about her own personal journey and the common misconceptions of sexual abuse. And then she will have a morning workshop and talk about steps to recovery. And then in the afternoon, she'll go over that some more in the second workshop.
Yeah. Are people going to come together like as a group first and then split off, or are they going to come and you come and register for the men's and someone comes and register for the women? I mean, is it starting off immediately as two separate, or how does that
people come in right away and just register at the table. And,
Right.
And for Friday, there's set sessions
Yeah.
for the people with the CEUs.
Yeah, they're timed sessions.
Oh,
on
I
Friday.
see.
And that starts actually at 7:30.
Okay.
Registration starts with coffee and muffins, and then it's 8:00 on Saturday for the survivors.
Okay. If you're just joining in, we're talking about Oasis 2015, and we have Susan Margolis and Karen Chickarone with us here in our studio. We're talking about this is mainly a conference for sexual abuse victims, their family, and just overall, if you've been a victim, if you know someone who has been one, a family member, how to relate to them. That's really what this is all about. Where did the name Oasis, how did that originate from? I know there's a story behind that.
That's a good one. Okay. See if I can remember now.
It was from a verse in the Bible.
Yeah. It's about as they walk through the valley, pass through the valley of Baca, on their pilgrimage, that they make it a place of spring. So it's like as you pass through and you're shedding your tears and you're feeling your sorrow, that God comes and He comforts you, and His healing rain just washes over you. And like the Oasis, it's just a place of refreshing and healing, and you're just so dry and desolate, and then you meet God, and He takes your pain and your heartache, and He transforms you.
One of the things we really like about this is when Karen and I went through healing, we had regular counselors, and then we went to the church for healing. It wasn't together, and this is together, both the approach to emotional and spiritual healing.
Yeah, that's neat. Now, when you talk about the spiritual healing, a lot of we kind of understand the emotional healing. I mean, that's there's a lot of folks that cover that both within the church and outside. But the spiritual healing Is that sometimes more difficult to achieve than the emotional healing?
I think they're both difficult. I think some of the issues with the spiritual healing involve maybe anger towards God, forgiveness, things like that.
Some people were also abused by someone in the church. So
that makes the journey even longer.
Yeah. Well, I was even going to say, there could be somebody that has never even been back to church because of something like that.
You're
exactly.
right.
If there is somebody that would be, let's say, in that situation, and you were to talk to them, what would you express to them, saying, "Look, this I understand that you've obviously once bitten, twice shy. How would you encourage them to come and give this a first impression? If there's someone there that's just like, I don't know,
I think I'd encourage them to separate Jesus from the church for right now.
Okay.
And that Jesus is the healer, and to come and meet in a small group and get to know Jesus and get a real close personal relationship with him and get some healing before going back to church.
Yeah. In these support groups that you have, how many do you have that has spawned from this first Oasis 2013?
Well, let's see. We had 2 groups going for a while, and now we have one smaller group, and then we also meet individually with people that, for one reason or another, can't be in a group. We'll meet with them.
So basically, 2 or 3 for the most part?
Maybe altogether, like maybe, you mean with individuals or?
Yeah, just different break-offs from all that.
Oh, it's hard to say. 10 to 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, because really, you don't really think of a support group that involves, things like this. So sometimes one-on-one is probably better.
It works really well.
Yeah. Because this way you can get very personal and not have to worry about any kind of, confidentiality issue.
The confidentiality is really huge in this. And what happens really is they want to meet alone for a while.
Sure.
And then when they get far enough, they really want the support group.
Oh, yeah.
They want to hear other people's stories and how they handled things and how they got through it. And
do you have people that do these sessions? Do they have to be trained with something that you provide? If you're going to do a small group type thing, you just can't have anybody just come in and lead the thing. Who facilitates these?
Well, Karen and I and
well, we co-lead, but Leah Fry has been mentoring us.
Okay.
For she's been doing support groups for a long time.
We've both had training.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, the idea is to get more people involved that have been adequately trained. Just happen to think at this first day of the conference for the professionals, could someone that would just say, "Look, I want to be able to be the person that can help be the mentor." How would, if a person wanted to get involved in that?
Yeah, we would definitely say come, because it's for professionals, but also for pastors and lay counselors, or
right.
people interested in being a lay counselor.
Well, you could be, like what you said, an elder, a deacon of a church. You couldn't necessarily be, or even a Sunday school teacher. You could be, the men or boys, ladies Sunday school teacher, and you're in a position of leadership right there, whether you're just teaching a weekly Sunday school or not. And what happens if, something sort of like you just find out that somebody in your Sunday school class has been in that situation? And I want to be able to help that person. Obviously, this might be a good thing to come to on that first night with the professionals to learn to spot what you know what I'm saying?
That's
Absolutely.
true. Yeah, and I also read that, children are not likely to disclose, but often the person that they would be to a teacher.
Exactly. So, this, just because you say it's for professionals doesn't necessarily mean it's limited to that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So that'd be a great opportunity for someone that would be teaching, any kind, and it doesn't have to be children, it could be an adult Sunday school class. You come across this all the time because it's probably more prevalent than people would probably admit.
So much so, we can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah. Because, a lot of times you get a lot of the statistics of abuse that, it's pretty obvious, various verbal abuse, physical abuse. But oddly enough, sometimes that the statistics don't reveal, they reveal some, but usually when they give you a statistic of the amount of sexual abuse that is out there, it's not that much compared to like physical and verbal. But what that really is saying is there's probably a lot more that's not being reported.
Yeah. It's so underreported that you're
Yeah.
right.
And so this might be a way that will help people to come from the shadows, you might say,
Right.
to be able
Yeah.
to find some resolution to this.
Because that's one of the big things that sexual abuse does. It is isolates you from people. You don't want people to know.
Sure.
But then if you find, oh, it really happened to someone else, or I can, go and be a part of
Or
this.
it's
and
okay to come and talk
it's
about
okay
this.
to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's the important thing.
And 60% of sexual assaults are not reported to police.
Sure, I believe
So,
that.
yeah.
Totally. I totally believe that. So the conference is coming up again. What are the dates for them again?
May 1st and 2nd,
Okay. And it's going to be held where at?
State College Alliance Church.
Okay, that's out on Whitehall.
Yes.
Okay,
uh-huh.
in State College. How many people, by the way, did you have? You remember kind of the head count that you had from?
We had about 60.
That's really not bad.
Yeah.
And so maybe we could double that this
And there
year.
were actually more that came on Saturday to hear survivor stories.
Sure.
Like our people that knew us.
Yeah. So we could probably double that for this year.
Yes.
We're hoping.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
you can go to www.facebook.com/Oasis Conference.
Okay. We can
Register.
All right, we can probably put that up on our Facebook page here later tonight too.
That'd be
that would
great.
be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And kind of get a link to that as well. And now, can you register? Can you register on the Facebook page, or do you have to register like a call? How do you go about getting the registration stuff done?
Well, when you get on Facebook, you'll find a place where you can click on the place to register.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
can click through the Facebook page to be able to find an online registration.
Yeah, and there's also scholarships available.
Oh, okay.
So we don't want anybody that wants to come to not be able to come.
All right. Well, that's important.
Uh-huh.
That's important because if you and what is the registration fee?
Let's see. For Friday, it's $70, but with CEUs, it will be more for that cost. And then Saturday is $60.
So
And students are $30.
okay, all right. So, but again, and that's important to know that if you really would like to come, but you don't have the money, then there are scholarships available for that.
Absolutely.
That's important.
And the other thing I wanted to mention that is different about this year is we're having a soup and salad
Right.
on Friday.
Okay.
So it's like more of an all day.
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. So it starts what time on Friday?
7:30 a.m.
Okay.
with registration, and it will close at 7 o'clock on Friday evening.
Wow. And then on Saturday, when does it pick up then?
8 o'clock.
Okay, and that's in the morning.
And then opening with Copper Lily at 8:30. And then we'll have Jan and Cease, and then their workshops, and then we'll have the music by Copper Lily again, reflection time, and closing at 5.
Okay, and that's usually kind of a neat. After 2 full days of that, you end on a real high note.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, when you left last year, on 2013, as you walked out the door, I mean, what were they going through their minds?
We saw a beautiful sunset.
That's true. That's true.
That's awesome.
It's like, thank you, God.
We also had a lot of people that just stayed
Yeah,
and wanted to talk to us and wanted prayer. And
that's neat. It ends with there is hope. There is there is a next step.
yeah, and they
Yes.
wanted to share their stories.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have folks that were at the 2013 conference can come and they can share some great stories for this year that would kind of keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Now, is there a phone number also if folks wanted to call to get more information about it?
Sure, 814-237-7991.
All right. And again, we'll try to have this put up on our Facebook page here in a few minutes so that we can pass that along. And if they want to get involved in a support group, I mean, they don't necessarily have to come to the conference.
No.
They can email us at oasis2springs@gmail.com.
Okay. And just say, I heard this on the radio. I may not be able to make it to the conference, but I want to get at that support group.
Yes.
We
And-
would love it. We would welcome it, and we would love to meet them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I'm glad you guys could come back, and I'm hopefully I'd like to hear you guys come and tell that we had even better success for this year as we did the one in 2013.
Thank you.
All right, we've had guests from this week, the Oasis Conference 2015. Again, it is coming to the State College Alliance Church, May 1st and 2nd. Thanks to Susan and Karen for this year, this week's edition of our program. So thanks for coming.
Thank Thank
If
you.
you or someone you know have topics or would like to be a guest for future programs on Center Topic, contact Rev FM at 814-867-3836 or email info@revfm.net. You can also write Center Topic, Rev FM, WRXV, 925 Howesville Road, State College, Pennsylvania, 16801. Center Topic is a public affairs presentation of Rev FM.